Apes.
Yeah, that's good. Ah, whew. Well, it is 12 o'clock, so let's get started so we can kind of do the show kind of straightforwardly today. Lots of stuff to talk about. Tananarive is busy being famous. She's giving a lecture to Princeton or something like that. I forget what it is. She's doing a Zoom, doing that. So we're on opposite sides of the house, taking care of various businesses. And welcome to Life Writing Live. This is March 21st, and I am of 2025, and I am your host, Stephen Barnes, the creator of the Life Writing and Fire Dance technologies. And every week, we talk about the application of some basic concepts to living a life that is within, let's say, the three gates. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it useful? And the three centers: belly, brain, heart center, head center. I think that I could extract almost everything that I'm doing from those two things, but I really, really like looking at the hero's journey, and that's something that I want to kind of tap into today. So let's unmute ourselves and say hello. We have a small group today.
Good morning,
Okay.
everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Hello.
everybody.
Good
Always
afternoon.
good to see everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, it is always good. So, um, one of the things I wanted to do, it hit me trying to figure out how to convey these things properly. And I did a challenge, not a challenge, but a little essay a couple of days ago, and I think maybe I read that. Let me see. Today's the 20th, 19th. Rejection of the challenge. Okay, that was 2 days ago. So what did I do yesterday? Aha. Okay. So when I said know one thing, know 10,000 things. Musashi Miyamoto said that in the Book of Five Rings, one of my favorite books of philosophy. But then Jerry Pournelle, much more recently, said, if you've mastered anything, you know how to master anything else. These two statements, issued centuries apart, point out a core truth. Success and understanding how to succeed is a skill set that is separate from the specific arena in which you choose to apply it, in which you wish to apply it. It's critical to remember that, because these people are saying that if you know how to succeed, you know how to succeed. Not you know how to succeed in this or that, but you simply understand the basics of what it takes. This is something most people never understand. They blame their pain on a lack of talent or privilege when they've never dug seriously into the qualities of body, heart, and mind that allow you to reach your goals. It's not their fault. Nobody taught them, but it is their responsibility as they enter the adult world. All you have to do to test this hypothesis, because that's what it is to find an arena in which you have already achieved success. Okay. You find an arena in which you've already achieved success. We've all got them. Everybody listening to this has arenas in which they've achieved success. You probably discount, if the more negative you are about your life, the more likely you are to discount the successes that you've already had, and therefore you can't extract from those successes the lessons that would enable you to succeed tomorrow. Once you can identify an arena in which you have succeeded, you take a look at some of the models, and they don't have to be my models, but you should have ways that you look at this so that when you have a new challenge, you automatically go into, let me organize myself. How do I deal with this? A model of high performance: Think and Grow Rich, The Magic Formula, The Hero's Journey, Musashi's Principles, High Performance Habits. It doesn't matter what it is. But what you do is you take that model and you apply it to the arena in which you've already achieved success. I don't care if it was learning how to walk when you were a baby. It really doesn't matter. What matters is you look at this model of success that you want to use and you apply it to the thing that you've already done and learn. The process of doing that will teach you so much. So For instance, and it should be a challenge in one of the three major areas: something with your body, something with your emotions, something with your mind. So it was something like learning a physical skill or losing weight, finding a relationship, but finding and maintaining a loving relationship, building a business, creating a work of art. Doesn't matter. The hero's journey, for instance, can be applied to anything. It's a core structure of storytelling for the simple reason that it is extracted from the patterns of life itself. We already went through the first three, but we'll go back over them and we'll try applying them to let's see, what did I say apply? Apply it to earning a black belt, because one of the accomplishments in my life. And let's see how far we can get. So the first step of the hero's journey is that you're confronted with a challenge. So what was my challenge? In my case, I wanted to stop being bullied. Well, that was actually the motivation. The challenge was to earn a black belt, but the reason for it, the why, was to stop being bullied. And part of it was also that thing that I've said about wanting to be admired by the men I admired and desired by the women I desired. That thing that helped to shape my head. I knew that if I didn't learn how to deal with aggression, I would never in this life be free. I'd never live a full life, because dealing with aggression, dealing with people coming at you, is just a part of the game. I didn't even understand it. It just was something that frightened me until really honestly, until my son was about 7, 8 years old. And every morning, every night when I put him to bed, he would attack me, and he just wanted that roughhousing every night. And I finally asked him, "Why do you do that?" And he looked at me as if I was the biggest fool in the universe. He said, "That's how boys play." And in that instant, I understood and recontextualized an entire lifetime of dealing with aggression from men around me. I realized there was nothing personal. They didn't dislike me. That's just what goes on. That's the world in that sense. And I can fight against it, or I can say, oh, does it serve a purpose? Okay, how do I deal with this? Okay, so the challenge of learning how to cope with this was something I was being slapped in the face with, and I hoped that becoming a black belt would allow me to enter into that world in a healthful way. Now, the second step of the hero's journey is to reject the challenge. And it's usually fear. So you ask yourself, well, what slowed me down? Why did I have problems with it? Well, it was frightening. I wondered, could I stand up to the pressure? Would I be hurt? My self-image was the image of an intellectual, not an athlete. It's not a fighter. Was this even something I dared dream of? It was just my false self-image got in my way and gave me 9 kinds of hell for decades. But I rejected the challenge. I accepted the challenge, even though it was a long time before I could integrate that acceptance into the deepest levels of my being. I wanted this more than I wanted the alternative. And there were so many times I wanted to quit. But I realized that if I quit, I'd be reinforcing a pattern of letting fear stop me, even if I knew there was no logical reason to back away. I'd never be the man I wanted to be. I'd be accepting a smaller life, which would lead me to lying about why I chose it. And lies are the first way to lose your way in life, especially lies to yourself. So I knew I had to do it, one way or another. Yes, I was driven by fear. Fear works. You just don't want to remain in suffering. There is a better way, but the way out of the maze is through the maze and, slaying the minotaurs as you go. The fourth step was the road of trials. And this is frankly how many miles you walk toward the mountain every day. Even one step is progress. So show me your daily rituals, especially the first hour of your day, and you have drawn a map to your destiny. If you want a different destiny, take different steps along a different road. Every day, you chop wood, carry water. It takes the average person about 4 to 5 years to earn a black belt. It took me almost 25 years because I was dealing with so much doubt and fear, so much false self-image, so many negative memories. But I knew that the road was simply to get to class, study, fight, lick my wounds, study, recover, go back to class. over and over for the prescribed period of time, expending the required energy and digging deeper and deeper into my heart to find the part of me that already was a black belt and nurture that until it sprouted. That's what you're looking for in any arena. What part of me already gets this? And let me nurture that part. A core belief that has sustained me is that the universe would not give me a goal I could hold in my heart continuously over time without giving me a way of accomplishing it. Is that true? I believe so. There's a lot of wiggle room in that statement, enough for me to say, yes, I believe that that's true. But it was certainly kind to myself, and it was hellaciously useful. If I applied the hero's journey to my journey, I'd be able to identify the major allies and qualities of mind required, major failures that spun me into depression and despair, the ways I clawed my way back out of that pit, the moment in which I realized I'd made it, that it wasn't just that I had a black belt, it was that I was a black belt. That was a fun moment, by the way. It happened at a convention. And I would look at how I did indeed rise to a new level that was worth all the stress. Heat and pressure make diamonds, and the reward was beyond my dreams. I now know how to succeed at anything I'm willing and capable of paying the price for. And if you will choose one or more of the patterns I teach, or patterns that you find yourselves, and look at how you organized your physical, emotional, and mental resources to reach that goal, write it out on paper, and preferably do this with some success in the physical, emotional, financial, or artistic arenas. If you can do that, then you know how to win. And you'll see exactly why you lost when you did. Now, there's a warning here, and I mean this seriously. People lie about why they can't succeed because it's terrifying to face the truth of who we are and what happens if we take responsibility for our actions and emotions. It's tough. But if you apply this new perception that you have to the people around you, you will start seeing things. You'll start seeing how their daily behaviors are not taking them where they say they want to go. You will see that they lie to themselves about what they did and why they did it. Because you will recognize your own lies. That's how you do it. You recognize how you have cheated yourself, and that's how you develop the ability to see how what's happening with other people. Observe it, predict it to yourself, but in all likelihood, unless you have permission from them, don't talk about it with them. People need their privacy. They need to protect themselves. They need to protect their hearts. Everybody's doing the best they can with the resources they can access, the resources they have. Sometimes you can help someone by pointing out resources they had that they didn't realize they had. But everybody's struggling. Everybody's trying. So as you gain greater and greater clarity on what it takes to make it, it'll be much easier for you to see the damage that people have that stop them from taking those actions. And if you don't want to destroy those relationships, shut up about it. Observe it. We're not here to see through each other. We're here to see each other through. It's love them, cherish them. If they ask for help, then talk about your own experiences and how you hit the wall and what helped you through that. Don't point the finger. Make it that the two of you are together on a journey. And that's if they ask. If they don't ask, leave them their privacy. So that was what I wanted to say today to kind of to set context. Because no matter what it is you're trying to achieve, and remember, we're looking at 4 different arenas. We're looking at physical health and fitness. We're looking at emotions, just loving yourself and being able to be in a healthy, loving adult relationship. Being able to make money and control it. And being able to create art and express yourself. So one of those 4 arenas will be perfect for you to say, well, let me look at the hero's journey. Let me test this and see if I believe in what Steve's saying. I try to give you ways every week to experiment for yourself and test and see whether or not I'm actually right. Because if you test it and it doesn't work, you should do something else with your Fridays. I mean that as seriously as possible. But if you test it and it works, then it will give you a little bit more confidence, and maybe the discussions we're having here are useful. I'm trying to be as honest as I can be, and I'm trying to be as kind as I can be, because only if I'm honest and kind is this conversation useful. So, given all of that, it's time now that what I like to do is to let you guys raise your hands and either ask questions, challenge me on something, or talk about something that's happened during the week, a win, something great for the community to talk about. Let's see. Emma Rome just did a. I just okay. Emma Rome. Where's Emma? Emma. There's Emma. Why don't you unmute yourself and talk to us about what you were thinking there? I think you probably have something useful.
Um,
Are you?
Hi, can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes, I
Okay,
can.
it's my first time in one of these, and I'm not really sure what to expect.
Well, this is just, we just have conversations about how to get more out of yourself, how to do it with integrity and joy. I can share things that I've studied from the martial arts or from neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, or just living my life. And to the degree that these things are useful to you, that would be a good thing for both of us. So, if you can think of an arena in your life, if you don't have a specific question, then I would ask you this. Can you think of something in your life, a major win? Could have been graduating school or learning a skill or anything like that. So we could actually take a look and see, does this pattern work?
Um, okay, if I cast my mind back to 2018 when I first bought that guest house that I ran for a few years before the pandemic.
So you bought
Um,
a house?
just well, it's partly a house, partly a business. I mean, the building was like 12 bedrooms. I lived in one of them, and I was running it effectively as a hotel.
Okay, you're a little muffled. I'm having a little bit of a hard time hearing you. If
Mm.
you could enunciate more clearly. So the win you're talking about is what specifically?
Um, I bought that building and
You
I
bought a building.
started yeah,
Fantastic.
and
Okay, so at some point you had to decide to buy that building, right?
yeah.
Okay, so you were confronted with that challenge. Were there negative emotions that came up, doubts and fears, and how am I going to do this, and confusions? Did that stuff come up?
Well, it was my first time running a business, uh, since it was a hotel, and
Hmm.
I was worried about whether or not it would succeed.
So you did have those concerns. So, like, the first step
Yeah.
is to be confronted with a challenge. This is just using one particular pattern. The next step is to go through all of your confusion and lack of clarity and lack of confidence and can I do this? Totally human. But you got through it because you decided to stick with it. So let me ask you the question, Emma. What was the moment at which you decided that you had to do it and you said, I'm going to do this thing?
Well, I suppose about 2 years before I actually bought it, I decided I wanted that this is what I was going to do, and I spent the next 18 months just like looking at property listings, trying to find one that met all the right criteria.
Okay, so what can you think about the moment at which you decided that this was what you had to do? You spent 18 months
Um,
figuring out stuff around it, but what was the moment
mm,
at which you said yes?
oh, I don't know.
Okay, so because you did it, there had to be a moment at which you committed. So this would be a good exercise for you. The 10 steps of the hero's journey we've talked about a lot. That the character is confronted with a challenge. They reject it due to confusion, fear, lack of clarity. They make a decision to do it for whatever reason. They set out on the road of trials. That's just the stuff that we do, all the gathering information, the research, and the efforts. Along that, you learn things and you meet allies, the people who can help you do it. Might have been loan officers, people at the bank, somebody who's done it before, who counseled you, whatever. But that's always part of that process. In every movie you've ever watched, people have been going through that process. There would be a point at which everything seemed to be going wrong, or at which more things are going wrong than that make you wonder, and it's like, is this what I should have done? With most people in most tasks, there'll be multiple moments at which it feels like all is lost, this isn't going to work. And the way through that point is you develop faith in yourself. No, I can do this. I know I can do this. Or somebody came to you and said, you can do this. Or some resource came to you that enabled you to do it. Whatever you are using to control your behaviors and perspectives as you move towards success, it doesn't have to be one of the patterns we use here, but you probably have patterns in your life. You're a grown woman, and that means that you have philosophies that have worked. There are things that have worked for you. Analyzing what is it you did right when it went right will help to teach you how to apply those exact same things elsewhere. Oh, I never made a full commitment. I never dealt with my fear. I took action, but I didn't take enough action for long enough, or I didn't get additional allies, or I didn't learn new things. Whatever it is, that's one pattern. The point being that what you're looking for is to examine several arenas in your life when you operated at the level you want to operate, at the level that you feel is really you, and then ask yourself, how did I do that? When I walked in that room, how did I own that room? How did I have confidence when I've never had that kind of confidence before? What was going on? You already have mastered many things in your life. And by studying those things, how you dealt with fear, how you got clarity when you asked for help, how you dealt with failure, those kinds of things, you can take that and apply it into the next things that are coming up for you in your life. And what I invite you to do is to test that hypothesis. See whether or not, not right now, because you're going to need to, like journal, work this out. Let me take a look at this. Think and Grow Rich is a fantastic book, has some wonderful patterns in it. It's the 13 steps there are good for anything. So you want to work with this stuff, but before I move on to somebody else, do you have any comments, questions, or requests about anything I said?
Yeah, I guess there were some things that are in my control, and I took steps to make sure those were put in place, and so I had those in order ready. And there are some things that were outside of my control, and that for those I had to wait until the forces outside my control moved them so that the time was right.
What you want to do is you want to write all this out. You want to write it out so you understand yourself. This is an area in which you succeeded. Somehow you organize yourself to perform at an above average level for you. Understanding that is your key to doing that every day. And when you have those steps more detailed, come on back or go over to the Lifewriting Circle site at www.lifewrite.com. Share your story and let us take a look at that and help you identify the things that are working for you, okay? And thank you. Okay, Otis Johnson. Otis?
Okay, got unmuted. Okay, I want to know your take on using AI as a reader. In
What
other
are you
words,
hoping to accomplish?
in this case, just to get results back about like missing beats or like things like that in my writing.
I think that you should try it and see what you think. And you should compare that with the opinions of the human beings that you have around you. I think that AI can substitute for some human opinions, but The question of whether it can provide what you need at the level you need it is another matter, because I don't know the exact things that you feel like you're missing or that you're trying to improve, and I don't know the AI that you're using and how it's programmed. So
Right.
it's difficult to say. So what I would do is I would take a given story and I'd have it analyzed by an AI, and then I'd have the people in your circle analyze it too, and see what do you think about their opinions. The proof will be in the actual action, not in my opinions about it.
Okay. Also, then, do you think I don't know, you're opening, let's say, like if I were to put like short stories into it just for analysis, is that making me too vulnerable to theft, or is that making me really vulnerable to idea theft or anything like
I don't
that?
think so. I don't think so. Um, I hate to tell you this, but your ideas ain't all that good. Ideas don't matter. Execution matters. The way we put the ideas together matters. If you write stories, you're going to have to show them to other people who could steal your stories. You're going to have to send them off to magazines who could steal your stories. It doesn't happen in publishing as much as it happens in Hollywood. In Hollywood, that's actually more of an act uh, of a real danger. Just not that much in the publishing industry. And you have to have confidence that if somebody steals your ideas, that just means you've got good ideas, and you've got 1,000 of them. I got a million of them. You're always going to come up with more ideas. Don't worry about that. So I wouldn't be concerned about that terribly much until you get up to script writing. And so with script writing, your best protection against having your ideas stolen is to establish your IP. Is you publish a story on the same subject that you did the script about, and now nobody can argue about who was first. It's right there in the magazine on June 1st, 1995. Does that answer your question?
So far, lastly, about ethical impact on the environment or anything like that? No, no. Okay.
Well, if you're worried about ethical impact on the environment,
She's gonna go. I'm gonna lose it. Hold on, my wife's asking too.
okay, have her come closer to the.
Ideas can be stolen, but it's the execution that matters. When he's uploading, something that's been executed because it's like his short story, that's my concern because it is
Okay,
his prose, it is his
so
writing.
so you're worried that they might steal the entire story, or they'd steal his style.
A little bit of both.
Don't worry about stealing his style. Once again, I would say that the value of using the AI is probably greater than the fear that they're going to steal the way you tell things. In terms of environmental impact, DeepSeek is already using something like 5% of the energy of Chat GPT. So, asking AI how to create AI that has less environmental impact is an obvious, thing that everybody's trying to do. So it's part of the future. It's a tool. Learn how to use it.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. Okay, let's see what's next. All right. So who else has their hand up? Or who there we have let's see. Leone. Leon,
Hi, good afternoon.
good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I started my day off with Pilates. I was almost late because I
Yeah,
turned off
Pilates,
my
I've heard
alarm.
really good things about Pilates. I have limited experience of it, but it seems pretty sound.
I love it. It keeps me, I don't know, it's my place of peace. But I love stretching and it makes my body feel good. I used to constantly have this like neck pain around here and my hips used to hurt, but we're constantly moving and stretching our body. And we're also doing breathing, like the breathing technique
Let
you
me
talk
ask you a
about.
question. After a good
Mhm.
Pilates class, how long does the effect of feeling in a deeper sense of peace, how long does that last after a class?
It can last all day.
So do you do Pilates every day?
I don't. I have 8 classes a month. And so what I try to do to break that up is I try to go walking, and I'm not trying hard enough. I'm lying to myself, but I don't I haven't tried hard enough. I used to love walking every day, and sometimes, like if I'm not going to do Pilates, if I don't get up and exercise or move first thing in the morning, then my mood is not really that great. I'm disorganized. I don't know what to do
So let me
throughout the
ask you
day.
a serious question.
Yeah.
You're at the edge of something. In other words, you recognize that when you set your day up properly, you have a better day, and if you have a better day, you accomplish more things and you're happier. So,
Mhm.
what gets between you and creating a daily ritual, first thing in the day, that enables you to have this wonderful day where you can accomplish more and also be more support to the people that you love and just, enjoy? What stands between you? If we were looking at this as the hero's journey, your challenge is to own every day of your life from now on,
Mhm.
to create a ritual that is brief enough that you always have time for it, such that if you don't do it, you know it's not about being busy, it's something else. There's something going on. So you what you've done with Pilates in the walking and other things is you see that there is a way that increases your efficiency and effectiveness. And in the
Mhm.
next 4 years of our lives here in this country, your capacity to function with joy and centeredness and efficiency and effectiveness could be a survival need for you and for people that you love. So I would ask you with deep respect to go deeply into that and ask the most trusted parts of yourself, why don't I do this every day? And if you have to go to a Pilates studio to use their equipment, then on YouTube there are plenty of videos on Pilates without equipment. So you could create your own home version of it. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Connect with the body because you're one of those people that has experienced it. If you connect through the body, you get to a deeper emotional place. Dare I say, spiritual place. That you have learned something about that, which tells me that during those moments with Pilates, your body, your emotions, and your intellect are all connected, and you also feel that you are expressing yourself. Pilates is one of your happy places. I
That
would
is.
love to see you giving yourself that gift more.
I can do it. I did during the pandemic. Well, right before the pandemic hit, I was jogging because I was going to do the half marathon or do a half marathon with Nike, and it was going to be the day before my birthday. So I was really excited. But unfortunately that was canceled. And but I kept jogging. I'd have to wear masks, and then the air quality got bad because of the fires. So I found yoga. Um, and I started doing 10-minute yoga in the morning. Um,
Great.
and I was taking pictures, and I mean, it was really good because I
Okay.
also
So
was
now
writing
you can learn
more.
something here.
Yeah.
You were doing it. What stopped you? Did you get busy? Did you get tired? What stopped you?
I wish I could pinpoint it.
Okay,
It,
so
it
you
has
don't
to.
have to pinpoint it right now. Here's the
Mhm.
point. I'm going to bet you right now that when you pinpoint how you interrupted yourself, how you stopped yourself from doing something that is free, that doesn't take a lot of time, that you enjoy doing, that makes the rest of your life better, how did you talk yourself out of that? Whatever the answer to that is, that has also stopped you in other arenas of your life. You will see I did that in this relationship. I did this with my job. I did this with my art. So you are looking at a single thing, which if you can solve it, will have multiple impacts on your life. So that's like, okay, let me do this one thing. Let me figure, that's the whole thing that we talk about writing a sentence a day. We talk about,
Mhm.
you can write a book a year with a sentence a day. It doesn't make any sense with terms of math, but it makes perfect sense in terms of human psychology. Having a task that is that simple that anybody can do, if you don't do it for the first time, you're looking at the truth. It's not the time, it's not the energy, it's not that you don't know how to do it, it's none of that stuff. It's something else. For instance, it's fear. It's confusion. It's lack of clarity. Whatever that is, solve that, and suddenly you jump up to a whole different level
Yeah.
by solving. You look for these problems where they exhibit themselves. That's like I hate to put it this way, but that's like at night the rats come out of the walls. You can see the rat. During the day, the rats are in the walls and you can hear them, but you can't see them. You're looking for the areas of objective measurement. Did I do it? Did I not do it? Where it's very clear that you knew how to do it. It's very clear that you could have done it. It's very clear that it would give you wonderful benefits, but you still didn't do it. Those are the things where if you dig into that, you journal about it, you meditate about it, you talk to your friends about it, you get together with your girlfriends, you have this problem, they all have the same kind of problem. We all do this at times. Dig into that one, and you have a single thing that will set you free in multiple ways. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
It's almost always going to be fear of some kind, by the way. At the
I know
core
it.
of it, so if you had to guess, if I said I will send you a check for $10,000 right now, if you can tell me what it is that stops you, you'd come up with an answer. If I were to say, you don't know what the answer is, but if you did know, what do you think you'd say? That's an NLP trick, and I'm not going to respect your intelligence too much to use that on you. But tell me, what might it be?
I have a whole bunch of lists, and I have a whole bunch of things that I want to do, and I need to narrow it down to what is it that I really want to do the most, I think. Because I just feel like I'm just reaching here and there. Yeah, I want to do this, I
Okay,
want to
so
do
you're
that,
saying
I
it's
want
lack
to
of
do that.
clarity.
Yeah, lack of
Lack
clarity
of
is
clarity. There's all
definitely.
these different things to do, and there's always something that feels more important. So you're chasing what is imperative rather than what is important. What is
Mm,
pricking you right now, rather than what is generative. So
mm.
this is when you're doing yoga. God, I love yoga. I mean, I just love yoga. And Pilates, I think I have respect for Pilates because I look at that and I think they seem to be kind of going through some of the same focus things. There's enough there that I can respect it because all a yoga is the joining of mind and body, or the joining of two things. If you take the mental aspect out, it's just gymnastics. It's just calisthenics. It's just stretching. It goes way beyond that once you follow the breathing down there.
Mhm.
So if you start with what is it that you really want, I I don't say this very often, but I feel like I need to say this right now, and that is that I'm not mistaking my words about this for some ultimate truth. However, one of the things that is true about life is that you have to proceed with confidence. So I will say things with confidence, and I trust that there's nothing but adults on here, and that you understand that I understand that we're having a conversation here. Given that, then I like what the Dalai Lama said about the meaning of life. That the meaning of life is to escape suffering, embrace joy, and to be of service. That everything we want in life is along that path. So when you ask yourself, what's the most important thing? What are the two, three most important things for me to do every day? Long term, what you want is to have a good life, is to move away from suffering, to live in a joyous moment, and then to share that gift with the world and uplift others. So, of all the things you want to do, can you identify what it is that accomplishes multiples of those things? And I can tell you that it's often something that will make money, because money is not terribly good at creating joy. It creates some happiness, but it's great at relieving certain kinds of suffering. Money is best at relieving suffering. Once you get over about $150,000 a year, that's different territory. And anybody who's been over that will tell you, my back still hurts, or my kids are still disobedient, or, this and this. I'm worried about other stuff. So out of the things that you are and that you want to do, what makes money, gives you joy, and is healthy for you?
Well, I got an LLC last year in October, and the LLC is for service and goods, and that service is writing. I got my content writing certification from Cornell last January. So I
Congratulations.
utilize that. Thank you. I utilize that right now to write newsletters. I think I may have talked about this before, but I write newsletters and I also write product descriptions um, for a luxury eyewear brand I work for, which happens to be my best friend's eyewear company. I do that. And I also, she had introduced me to another woman who was a Tory Burch Fellow with her, who did these 3D printed patented um, um, flower pots, and they're called posy pots. And so she got me a job with her, so I was doing her content writing and her social media for that. I love writing, I love creating and adding pictures and all that. So with my LLC, I will be able to um, do that, I guess, put myself out there to be able to write content for people, write newsletters, blogs.
This
In
sounds great.
addition to that, yeah,
Okay,
in
no,
addition
let's
to
wait.
that,
That
I'm
that
also
that's it.
creating greeting cards.
That's enough. And you need it.
Mm,
It's the thing, the LLC, and the skill that you've already created. If you
mhm,
focused on that, that then would seem to me to give you the flexibility that you need to do some of these other creative things as well, the greeting cards and this, that, and the other. So, where do you want your L? If can you imagine your LLC in 1 year from now supporting your life in a way that you're able to do things with joy and in ease? Okay, good. Then
yes.
every day you could have that goal in 1 year or however long that is. You take a look and get a realistic estimation. I'm going to have my LLC at this level. That requires me to do certain things every day. That tells you what you have to do first every day. What Brendan Burchard, who's a great guy on personal development and efficiency, says that's the stuff that has to be done by one. That you say that every day you're going to take at least one step towards making your LLC, whatever that is. If it's 3 steps, fantastic. But what can you get done in the first part of the day, that work part of the day? Then your first hour or your first half hour, or your first 5 minutes is setting up your mind and body to be able to do that. So you get out of bed. The first thing you do is you think, what is it I'm going to accomplish today that's going to take me closer to my goal? It's moving something with your LLC, right? And in order to do that, you have to be at your best in terms of your energy and your awareness and your aliveness. So you have to take care of
Mhm,
your body. Let me connect with my body. What I strongly suggest is that you start with, the breathing 5 times a day, and then you go from there to your morning ritual. You make your stretching and your breathing and your exertion or your walking or whatever it is that makes your heart happy the core of your morning ritual. And while you're doing it, you are chanting your affirmations, or perhaps you put on a YouTube video of Rachel Rogers, talking about how we should all be millionaires and talking about, how black women can build wealth and so forth. You have some small period at the start of every day where you are aligning your body, your heart, and your mind. If you can do that for 10 to 20 minutes, it's a touchstone. During this 10 to 20 minutes, you know what it feels like to be who you really are. You
mhm.
are you're powerful. Your animal aspect is alive. You're doing what's in your heart. You're clarifying your mind. You're expressing yourself. You're doing art at the same time. For just 10 to 20 minutes, you are that bitch. You are that person. You are in
I'm that
that
bitch.
space. That's right. You're
Yes,
that bitch. And when you
yes.
remind yourself of that first thing of the day, then all the rest of the day, you can say, well, am I breathing like that bitch? Am I optimistic? Do I have that clarity? If not, you did it this morning. Let me go back. Let me take, the Pomodoro technique just says, you work for 25 minutes an hour and 5 minutes is yours. Stretch during that time. Reconnect with that morning. So you're writing for 25 minutes or you're writing for 50 minutes. Take a 10-minute break. Reconnect with your morning. You every day In the first thing in the morning, you're digging for the gold inside you. And you will only get, even if you only get a half an inch through the rock, you're getting closer to the gold. Okay. So it's like, every day you get a little closer, you say to yourself a little bit more, and then one of the things I do when I'm teaching Tai Chi is I will be working with, 20, 30, 40, 50 students. And after an hour and a half that we've been together, I would have them close their eyes, and I would say, I would like you to ask the most trusted part of yourself to go back over the last hour and a half of our lives together. The truth is that during that hour and a half, there were moments when you performed better than you did at other moments. That's always the truth. There's always a curve. If you will find the moment today, or the moments that you were the most yourself, the most centered, the most at peace, the most connected, all you have to do is take that moment and store it away like a glowing pearl. You put that in the most trusted part of yourself. You ask the observer part of you to notice what you're doing and to observe when you get it right. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. But when were you closer to that? And you store up those moments at which you were closer to who you need to be to feel like, I am me. I am this living being who's traveling between being a little girl and an old lady, and all I have to do is listen to the dreams of my child and the values of the old woman I'm going to be, who's beyond all the bullshit, and then make every day a step with integrity along that path. What did I do? When was I walking a little bit better? When was I moving a little bit faster? When was I thinking a little bit sharper? When was I, at what moments are you closer to being the person you need to be to reach your destiny? And then you just seek those moments within yourself. And like I said, because there's always a curve, there are always times that you're closer and always times that you're further away. Always. All you have to do is keep noticing when you are better. I notice when I'm able to help people the most. What is my headspace when I'm doing that? The rest of the world kind of fogs away a little bit. There's nothing but you and me, and there's nothing but my ancestors and the people that I owe things to. And I want to try to understand your journey. There are things that I go through when I do this and I'm doing it right. It's different from when I'm doing something else, when I'm doing other things. I have to identify when I'm writing, when I'm doing martial arts, when I'm making love, anything else. What is it? What's the difference that makes the difference? When I'm really connected and I'm really there, and you just keep getting better at that thing. So every morning, your task is to remember your long-term goal, where you want to be in 5 years, 1 year, 3 months. What do you need to do today? Who do you need to be to do it? Now let me go out and connect with my body and my breath, and I will move my body and I will breathe as if I am that bitch. For this period of time, right now, I'm going to be that person. And then when I'm done, I'm going to thank myself. And then, it's like something I like to say a lot of times is, when I'm at the beginning of the day, I'm a loving, happy man stepping into the world, ready to serve. Escape suffering, embrace joy, be of service. Once you're in the moment, there is no suffering. Suffering is about guilt about yesterday and fear about tomorrow. In the moment, there is no suffering. There can be pain, but not suffering. And if in the moment you are doing things that are productive, then you are also affecting the external circumstances, so that over time there's less and less pain. There's more and more joy. So you're not escaping. It's not escapism. I mean, I can escape. I can, go downstairs and watch cartoons and, eat M&Ms. Or I can go into flow state writing a story, which is both expressive of myself and makes money. If I'm worried about money, then, once I've done everything I can do, I can let the rest of it go. So you're looking for the activities that you enjoy, that also provide and also serve. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. If I can tell you real quick, I'll try to make it quick. I was living in New York, and I was working for a company called Nubian Heritage, and I wasn't making that much money. And I needed like a scarf and a hat because it was cold. And I saw them at Old Navy, and I was like, you know what, I can make those. So I started crocheting, and it turned out that I was making all these hats, and I ended up I was able to put them on consignment. And the first day, all of my hats and scarves were gone except for one. And I did that out of joy, and also I got some money out of it. So that was,
Money,
that
look,
was
in the adult
perfect.
world, money is the coupon. Every day,
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
every day, I hear people say, I don't care about money. And then they complain about something a problem money would solve. They're
I would
lying to
never say that.
themselves. Good, good. So,
It's a big lie because
so
I'm
you are
always
hyper
thinking of where
competent.
we're going to go and everything that
See,
I want to do. And that costs money.
that's what I know about you. You're extremely smart. You're very creative. You're hyper competent. You could do a number of different things well. So you're confused because you don't know which one to do first. So choose the one that'll make you the most money. That's also
You
fun.
called it. Yeah. So
Okay,
that's my creativity.
there
And
you
you just
go.
pulled it out of me. That's my happy spot. Whether it's
Fantastic. So if you
painting
can
or
monetize,
writing or
sweetheart,
drawing,
if you can
whatever.
monetize your happy spot, how can life possibly
Hmm.
get any better than that? Except you monetize a happy spot and you do your happy spot with other people that you love. So you're helping
Yeah.
them support themselves too. Now you're building tribe.
Yeah.
And I hope that you'll once again. I want to know more about what it is that you're doing. I'd like to keep track of what it is that you're doing because
Okay.
you feel like a leader to me, and that's what I need to do right now is to teach teachers is to
Thank
is to
you.
help leaders sit in their power space if they are committed to escaping suffering, embracing joy, and being of service. And I think you are.
Yeah.
How
Thank you.
interesting. We will talk again.
Okay.
All right. Take care,
All
sweetheart.
right. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you
And
so much.
yeah,
I
this
feel so
this
great.
fun, isn't it? See, this is
It is fun. It is
it
fun. I
is
like,
fun. It is fun. And nobody else has their hand up right now, so I'll stay with you for a second and talk about the fact that on Tuesday of this week, Tananarive and I had arguably the most important meeting of our lives. And it was because, it was based on a project that we did over 10 years ago. But somebody came up and said, we would like to turn this project into something. And this person I'm being deliberately vague here, created a team. It's a very powerful team. And we pitched to one company 2 weeks ago and they won it. We pitched to three different companies on Tuesday and they were just leaning in. It's like, oh, and then what happens? And then we're in at the same time, she's convinced that I might be right about the fact that the one of all the different projects that are going on, about 3 months ago, we were offered the chance to direct our own film and the money to do it. And in 90 days, this starts. And the question is, how does this work? Because the magic formula, the thing you have, map or model of what you're doing, you take consistent action, you maintain gratitude, an attitude of gratitude, you clarify your goals, your intention, that's the I, and you make sure it's coming from your core. You can't do wrong to get right. That if we focus all of our attention on this movie, Hollywood stuff will start happening, television stuff, other stuff, because that's the way it goes. You can't get a job until you've got a job. And as soon as you got a job, other people offer you jobs. You can't get a
right.
boyfriend until you got one, and then all of a sudden, all the guys are looking. I mean, this is the way the universe is. That when you can't chase after success. You have to a certain degree, attract it by being the right kind of person who does the right kind of things every day. So if we take care of the movie, the television stuff will happen. But then in terms of the movie, what is it that we can focus on there? And there, the Life Writing Circle thing, www.lifewrite.com, we decided let's set up a site and charge nothing. And every day we try to choose people on that site who need help and we coach them. If we do that, the site will grow automatically. We have a store off to the side, but we don't talk about the products. But by the time we've got 1,000 people there, we will have given people so much for free that they'll know we're not bluffing about being able to help them. So there will be cash flow there. But that's beside the point. If we just help people, we keep our attention here, these other things will come in. And then as those things happen, we do what we can do with those things. And we make sure that all these things are congruent with our goals. All the things are congruent with our values. Every single one of these things are things that we would do for free. That's thank God I've got agents and managers, because I would do all this stuff for free because I love doing this stuff. But you want to set yourself up, and we're very close to it. We're not quite there yet. So that the more service you give, the more money you make. And then you can take your attention off the money and put it totally onto the service. But you have to go through some stages of evolution first. You have to be sure that you're protecting yourself, because there are people who will steal from you, and they will steal your energy, and they will break your heart, because drowning swimmers will drag down the lifeguard. They don't hate the lifeguard. They just are afraid. You are at a place where you can make money doing something that you love that is also productive for other people. That is a blessing. Everyone in the world wants to know how to do what you're doing. Be a leader. Commit to lifting at least 10 other women or men or whatever is the closest tribe of your heart up to that level. We need you. The world needs you. Good for
Can I
you.
tell you that one of the reasons that I went, and took the course with Cornell, and what was really inspired me is I went to this, it was called the Black Venture Summit in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And there's all these different small businesses, people of color, what have you, just, trying to sell their product, great products. And so I thought, I get this content writing, I get my LLC, and maybe I get on Fiverr. I said, I want to help small businesses. That's my first thing. My first mission was, I want to get these people on Instagram who have like 500 followers. I want to help get them more followers. I want people to see them the way I see them. So
Good.
yeah, my first mission is I want to help small businesses.
So get out of suffering. Your suffering is caused by lack of clarity, which means that you need to gain clarity. And you can gain clarity by making your morning ritual a meditation. And you can do that by focusing your mind and your heart and your breathing. So Bob's your uncle. You got it. All right. Thanks. Great
Thank
talking to you
you.
today.
You too. Thanks.
You bet. Hi, me.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Stephen.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. In fact, this whole discussion this morning, afternoon, I've been having one good day after another for so many days in a row as a result of practicing all of this stuff that I feel a little bit like one of those old 1960s variety show acts where they're spinning plates on the tall stick. And that as you practice, as you practice taking care of the belly, the heart, and the head, and then start doing the magic formula and on the hero's journey, I know that today I'm in that road of trials and adventure, and I'm gaining allies and skills, and I'm actually having some success at it. So it's like at first, belly, heart, head, you've got 3 sticks and 3 plates, and then you add a second stick and a second stick and a second stick, and you're successful. And then you add a third and a third and a third, and now you're balancing 9 of them, and it's time to add a 4th one. And I recognize that there's some fear of success happening.
Well, one of the reasons that you fear success is that success continues to complicate for you. You got this stick and you get stick. Now, all of that is
Yeah.
true.
Right.
The feeling that you want is that every day you're just doing one thing.
Right. Okay.
You're doing one thing. You're being Jaime.
Yeah.
And you actually step into slightly the observer mode. Did you see Spider-Man Far From Home or No Way Home? Can you
Yeah.
remember the moment when Doctor Strange knocks Spider-Man out of his costume and the costume continues to fight him?
Got it.
You're moving, being this person to the things that you need to do to unconscious competence. And then you're just living one moment at a time. And you externalize all the things you need to do. So you write a list. It's like, what do I need what am I accomplishing long term? What do I need to do short term? What do I need to do today? Why am I going to do it? That's filling your gas tank, make sure you have the fuel for it. And then now you create your to-do list, which is never a matter of doing everything on the list. It's a matter of getting the result that you want. As soon as you've got the result, you can switch to something else. So it's at this moment, you're being Jaime doing this. Isn't that interesting? At this moment, you're being Jaime doing this. It's the same guy. It's very much like these chess masters who are playing multiple games. They're not holding all those games in their head. They're looking at the position of the board. My move? Okay, I know what I need to do next.
Right.
You're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And it's a deep thing. It's a sacred thing. Your mind, your conscious mind, is not large enough to contain the universe, but we are a part of the universe. So the conscious mind is best used to set yourself up for the unconscious to take over. What are the rituals I have to go through? I have to do this exercise.
Yeah.
I have to meditate. I have to say these affirmations. I have to hug my son. I have to do my blessing dance with my wife. That these are the things I do to center myself, and then I simply live my day. And if I start feeling like, oh my God, there's this, what that tells me is I need to center myself more. Because if I don't, that's where your fear of success will come from. That as more things happen, you're tearing yourself apart.
Well, and I remember when I was younger and I learned how to ski and I learned how to surf, and being able to go from riding a wave flat on my belly on the board versus the first time getting up on the board and successfully balancing without falling off and making it all the way to the end of the wave. And I feel like as I'm applying some of these models and principles and things, I'm actually gaining enough skill at it that I can start standing up and I'm not losing my balance.
Good. Because
I'm
the
not
next step
there
after
yet. I'm not really skilled,
but you're
I'm
going to get
getting
there. And for you, it's the same as the last lady I was speaking of. You're going to be a leader in your community, Jaime. I cannot talk to your community the way you do. I care about them. I love them, but I'm not them. And I have my own stuff that I'm dealing with that can stop me from, we all have those problems of being able to see without filters. If you can see without filters, all there is love. And I can't do that. You can. Because we've created enough of a connection that I can connect directly to you, and that you can then once you figure out, I've got something that might have saved this kid's life. I've got something that might help this person. Do it. Be that leader. That's what is necessary in this world. So you learning how to balance something about your mind, something about your heart, and then these career things, so that it all feels like just an organic expression of who you are. You're just water, man. At this moment, you're frozen into ice cubes. Over here, you're snow. Over here, you're steam. Over here, you're vapor. Over here, you're a cloud. But it's all still water. It's just Jaime being Jaime, doing Jaime things.
Well, and so a couple of successes for this last week. I'm big in the gardening community here. I'm big in the LGBT community here. A random wholesale warehouse decided to close out its gardening products and contacted me about receiving a donation of $10,000 worth of gardening materials to share with the gardening community.
Heck yeah.
And that's one of those random things that we're out of control of, but because I'm doing the stuff in my own personal life, it's happening where I'm extending it outward. And then I had another agency ask me to be a presenter next Saturday at a youth conference to tell them about the history of LGBT activism in Alaska, talking to LGBT youth. And so these two things landed on me without me going out looking for them, just because I'm doing what you suggested. I'm
Okay, then listen to
yeah,
this suggestion and see whether or
yeah,
not it makes any sense to you. I don't know what metaphor you use for your life. Some people, the people who use the metaphor of being at war. Life is a dance. Life is this.
yeah.
Life is also a garden.
Uh-huh.
So if you looked at that, you asked yourself, how do I represent life? So you garden, you have to prune it, you have to do this, you have to plant, you have to trust nature. However it is that you look at that so that it makes sense. If that were true, then you could connect with your gardening people and just give them little metaphors, little
Uh-huh.
bits, the
Uh-huh.
stuff that you want to help them with, connected to garden. But the other thing is when you talk to that audience, don't talk to the audience, talk to one person in that audience.
Right.
There's
Right.
somebody in that audience who desperately needs you to tell them that it's all right to be happy. There's
Yeah.
somebody in that audience who needs to escape suffering and be of joy or to step up and be of service.
Yeah.
Look for their faces. Someone, and I'm glad this generates joy for you, and I want you to feel joy for it. But understand how serious I'm being too. When I'm giving a talk about all these things, I assume somebody in that audience is thinking about going home and hurting themselves. If I can be authentic enough, if I can give enough of myself, I can be honest enough about my own struggles and how I got through them to joy, I will give somebody hope. So I want you to step up and be a leader. Okay?
Yeah.
And I believe in you, Jaime. You're an interesting guy.
I'll tell you, I'm having a blast doing this stuff, and I'm getting payoff in spades. It's coming
There you
back
go.
by bucket loads.
There you go. Fantastic. Good. And thank you for sharing, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. All right. Comments, questions, requests, challenges. Come on. There's got to be somebody out there who thinks I'm full of shit. Come on. Push at me. Latanya West. Oh, writer. Yes. Writer Zeshtuk. I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Oh, Sertuche.
Zestute?
No, Sertuche.
Zetute. Oh, well,
It's
forgive
okay.
me.
It's fine.
But we'll just call you
better
writer.
It's better than my roommate in college. She used to say Sir Tucky, and and she called me Sir Turkey too. But but it's Sertuche. So
What language is
it's
that?
it's a Spanish bastardization of a Basque name.
Basque.
Yes.
Okay, so are you Basque?
I am. My parents are both Mexican. I'm
Uh-huh.
born and raised in Texas.
Oh, okay.
So I'm Mexican American, but my dad's side of the family, that's his family name. There's three
Okay.
Basque brothers that ended up somewhere in North America, and my dad's line of family's from one of those brothers.
So, how can we help you?
Well, I think the last time I've been on, I was struggling with a lot of things, being broke, feeling stuck, um, in general, those two big ones, and feeling stuck personally in my writing and just unable to
Feeling
make
sad in your writing?
no, just being stuck in my
Okay.
writing, feeling stuck. So just stuck, like stuck in the mud. Tired
So
of
where are you
it's
now?
not going anywhere. So I've been doing things to, I think, and you mentioned that one time we got on to reconnect with my inner child. So I've been doing things that used to make me happy,
Good.
little by little. I used to love watching Little House on the Prairie, so I went back and found it online, binge watched it. Um,
Every night, my wife and I watch an episode of Emergency. It's what she used to love when she was a kid. Paramedics out there saving people, and I just enjoy it with her. I'm so glad that you're giving that little girl inside you that gift. That's so wonderful.
yes, I've gone through all. I like dancing. I went and I've been venturing out on my own, and I went to I guess a nice beer bar place, and they had a 90s night, and I danced because I like dancing, and I danced. Um,
There you go.
with the, I didn't care if anyone was watching. I was just doing it for me.
That's right.
And it was fun. So I've been doing things to connect to the things that used to make me happy. And
Excellent.
it's working. I
So
feel a lot
tell
better.
me a result that you're getting in your life because you are connecting with your joy.
Well, I don't feel stuck in my writing. Now I can actually write to a prompt. Um, I've also I joined 3 book clubs. I'll probably have to drop one because I haven't had time to read that book. But one's a silent one, which is mostly the aim to just read in company, and the other one is one where we'll discuss.
Okay,
Um,
so if I might look at what you've told me right now, you're moving your body more, dancing. You are doing things that bring you joy. You are executing more writing. You're turning out more
I am.
writing.
I'm executing, and I'm trying to increase my community and my social connections too, because I've been feeling very isolated.
Okay,
Um,
so what can you do to increase it? Like, could you like make one phone call every day to somebody?
um, I've actually joined it's like an online women's meetup. It's very local, so I joined that, and
Terrific.
I found that, and also I'm starting a writing group. So far, now I'm at like 2 people that have shown up, and I think
That's
that's
okay.
good.
That's okay. You know, if you have one person to exchange your writing with, that's fantastic. There were many years of my life growing up that I wished I could have one person. So that's great. So it looks to me like you've got your fingers, you got your toes in the pool on all 4 different arenas. This is good. All you have to do is keep bringing the joy, and just clarify where you want to go and be sure that the path getting there would make you happy. And then every day enjoy being that woman and keep feeding that little girl. I get the feeling that you keep thrilling that little girl and she's going to give you more awareness, aliveness, and creativity that you're going to then be able to use to move yourself forward. I think there's a lot for you right there. I just look at your body language and I think to myself, I want to know more about the little girl inside you. Just that cute little creative sweetheart. That's it. That's her. That's her right there. That was her. Okay. That's the core of what you're looking for. Okay. So the mommy part of you, the adult calculating
Right.
part of you, the lioness exists to protect the cub. You've got a cub. You protect the cub, and the cub will then start playing and feeling safe. And that creative energy you can then put into solving any problem you've got in your life. You can say, well, I want to do this. And how can I do this and have fun in the process? How can I do this and have fun in the process? Be sure that you add and have fun in the process or something like that, so that that little girl inside you knows that mommy is looking to increase her joy in life, the play in life. Your breakthrough will come from doing more play. There are other people, their breakthrough will come from doing more work. Your
Oh
breakthrough
no,
is going to
I've
come
been
from doing
doing
more play. And
I've
you
been
need
doing
to
a
play with
lot of work.
friends. You need to play with friends. You need to have a squad that you get into mischief with. It's like so. Um, that's great. I wanted to move on to another person, but is there anything
But
else
that's
that
kind of, so I just wanted to give you that update. Then I
I
remember
appreciate that
all the
very,
things
very
that you
much.
told me that I needed to
And
really
and if you
connect
would
with
be
that
so
inner
kind,
child. And I have been doing that, and it's helped. I think for a while my kids thought I was crazy because I was just binge watch. I started with binge watching, Little House on the Prairie, but then I moved on from that.
well, I say I am crazy, and ain't it cool? Simple as that. Yeah, I'm nuts. I don't try to defend my insanity to people. I'm nuts. It's okay. The best people are. Take care, sweetheart. All right, and Latanya West.
Hey there. I just wanted to share that it's been an interesting week. Uh, and I completely came up against a wall of, I don't even know what, fear, whatever, because I had set a goal to finish my story this past weekend. And I just totally got mired in, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm doing, and I just completely stopped. But then I tapped into my support network, which happens to be amazingly my family. I mean, it was really awesome. My brother reminded me of what you had said and what you've been saying, which is just a sentence a day. Because and even share the experience of, oh my God, I'm having a lot of problems here. Because I don't usually share. I don't usually even acknowledge it to myself, really, or I'll just leave it stuck there.
So what I can tell you a couple things right here. So you have a belief system that you have to do it all yourself. You've always had to be strong.
Yeah.
Are you the eldest child?
No, but my brother's older than me, but I'm like the older sibling.
Oldest girl. Okay. You felt like you had to do it yourself, and you compartmentalize. You say you're not even sharing your successes and your needs and your wants with yourself. You're not even.
Starting to.
You're starting to. Good.
Yeah.
So you'll notice this if you were looking at the hero's journey here, you got stuck, went into the dark night of the soul, and your way through it was faith in your companions, your brother.
Mm-hmm.
Your brother basically pointed out that you already knew what you needed to do. So it's a matter of faith in yourself. You needed somebody else to remind you that you could trust yourself. So you will get an awful lot from asking yourself, why don't you trust yourself? You have accomplished so much in your life. You're obviously, a woman of intelligence and grace. And I believe you're the kind of person who pays their way in life. Why would you not think that you should be proud of yourself? Why would you think you cannot trust yourself? Where did those voices come from? Who told you that? Anyone who told you you were anything less than precious, that you were made of anything less than the stars, was just dragging their poison into your pond. You need to treasure that little girl inside you, that perfect little girl, and to know that she grew up to be a perfect woman. And perfect in the sense that perfection is a process. It's not a position, sweetheart. We are all working together. One of the ways I work on myself is by doing this every Friday. I have to be in a particular headspace to do this. That headspace reminds me of when I am in a generative place where I'm connected to my source and I understand who I am and how I got here, and I'm sharing that with others. So I'm not in suffering because I'm in flow. This is my joy because I love doing this shit. I really do. I love interacting with you guys so much. And it's a service, but it is also protecting myself because I'm creating tribe. I'm creating people who one of these days I might reach out and say, listen, I've got a problem. Can you tell me what you see here? None of us make it through this alone. But it's time for you, how do I say this? It's time for you to acknowledge that you're there. And you've been there for a while. The tools that got you where you are not the same tools you need to embrace and enjoy this part of the process, move on to the next level, or help others. Because let me tell you something about leadership. Years ago, I was doing a martial arts class. I was one of the students in class. And it was on Saturday mornings. And after class, we would all go for breakfast together. And one of the other students was there. Her name was Sonia. And Sonia was a black belt in something or other, but this was all very new to her. So I was talking about I was not happy with this, and I didn't do this right, and I couldn't do this, and I'm so frustrated about this. And she finally looked at me and she said, "Shut up, Steve." And I said, "What? What?" She said, "If someone like you, at your level, still isn't happy with their performance, what are the rest of us supposed to think?" And I got it. I didn't argue at all. The instant I saw that, if everybody is struggling, and what makes it worthwhile is we see the people ahead of us on the journey, and if they are happier and healthier and more successful, then we say, okay, I'll keep climbing this mountain. But if no matter how much you climb, you're still not happy with who you are, why should I bother? Why should I bother? So you have to own what you have achieved. And you have to trust yourself because you're looking at people, they don't trust themselves. They're looking, is there anybody out there who trusts themselves? You raise your hand. I am that bitch. I trust myself. I've been through the fire. I know who I am. I test myself every day. And yes, this is who I am. And I want to tell you, the work is worth it. The effort is worth it. Moving through the fear is worth it. That owning yourself and being able to trust yourself is the most precious, most beautiful thing in all the world. Keep going. Keep going. We need people who can do that, Latanya.
I think I have like a dichotomy in my mind. I have
Let's hear it.
the quote unquote artist who isn't practicing her art like forever, so long in my adult life. And then the capable business oriented person, that I know what to do. And I think I get
Call
tied
the
up.
mother and child. Call the
Yeah.
mother and child. Step out of those definitions. The business person is mom. She's the adult. The artist is the child. Mom only works to create a safe space for the child to play. So that's all that's going. So it's like you work and you're good at this. And now you get to, watch the gate to the playground and baby gets to go play. It's like that's one of the most precious part of my relationships with Tananarive is the fact that we're a couple of kids and we can play together. It is so precious. The little kid inside me, I make contact with him every day. So what I would suggest you do is in your next meditation, get a picture of yourself when you were a little girl at the age that you can find, or a picture of another little girl who looks kind of like that. And visualize her in your meditation and just sit with her and let her know you would like to hear what she wants to say, and then shut up and let her talk. If she's not ready to talk, just sit with her, be with her, maybe hold her hands and be with her for 10, 20 minutes, whatever it is. And then the next day you come back again, because it's quite possible that mommy has been at work so much that she has not nurtured the relationship with that little girl that you were. And that little girl has all the creativity that you're looking for, all the joy. You have been an adult and you are an adult. You own that. Go back and be a kid.
Well, I'll say the sentence a day. Oh my God, that's helped me so much because it's forward movement. And I just,
Yes.
even though it was
Success
like, okay,
is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. It's not achieving the goal. It's taking steps along the path to the goal. So you have to keep formulating your goal so that it is in integrity with yourself, that you're not going to hurt people, you're not going to hurt yourself. And that way you can get that into that, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. I will do whatever it takes to reach my goals because my goals are clean. I'm not going to hurt my family. I'm not going to hurt other people. I'm not going to hurt myself. I can literally take my brakes off. And just every day is like another day to go for it. I want you to finish that story. I want us to be able to tell you the things, the positive. Look at that little smile. Look at your smile. That part of you wants to come out and play. Come out and play with us. What Tananarive and I are doing is we're trying to create safe spaces where people can play and their children are safe, but the adults can talk serious shit. We can talk seriously about our lives and finances and how to fix the world, but the children are safe to play. While the children talk, the adults guard the gate and the adults have coffee and we talk real talk. But play with me. Give us your dreams. Do that. Remember that the only thing that makes the adult world make any sense is if the children are safe. Everything you can think of that has to do with what is evil on one level or another hurts children. If the children are safe and happy, and you don't have to have children, you can be a good aunt, uncle, teacher. Just sweep the streets. Don't make the world more dangerous for children, and that's enough for me. But when I say take care of your body, your heart, your money, and art. A little poem. I want you to think about that every day. What did I do today to strengthen my body? What did I do today to love myself more and to share love with others? What did I do today to make that bag? Make that money. Get that money. You get that money, girl. And then what did I do to express myself? To share my joy with the world as art. Could be dance, could be singing, could be simply living your life with a certain pep in your step. It doesn't matter. You get to choose that. But that's what I believe, that if you aim at all four of those things and you look at all four of those things every day and you believe you're worth it, you'll work it out. You got everything you need to get everything you want. You're enough. You've been fighting to prove that you are enough. I'm here to tell you your war is over. It's time to win the peace.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, hon. So good to see you. So good to see you.
Good to be with you.
Oh, God. When I talk about that, we had this meeting on Tuesday, and all these potentials, and there's this movie, and there's all these potentials, these other things. All you can do is kind of ask, what is the limit of me? How much happiness do we deserve? There's so much pain in the world. How do you justify wealth in a world in which there is suffering and poverty? How do you do it? And I think the only way you can do that is by committing to being an example. You give away so much to the world, and then right now, you're giving as much as you can to the world, and you tell the universe or God or however you put it, if you give me more, I will give them more. And you mean it. You mean it with everything inside you. You're just part of nature, and a tree does not have to feel guilty because it grew too tall. Just connect to the source of life. Do the best you can every day. And look to be wealthy enough in all aspects of life to share, to inspire. People are hurting. They need to know that joy exists. Go be joyful. Write something for us, okay?
I heard that.
All right, there you go. There you go. Oh, God, this is so great. This is so great. Yesterday we had friends in, thank you. I love the hearts too. I love those hearts, yeah. We had friends in from Seattle, and we rented a Porsche SUV, a Range Rover, and drove up to Lake Arrowhead for lunch. It was just, with our friends and just spending some time together. And yeah, we talked business and we talked life, but it was also partially just a celebration, realizing that, there's so much going on and we're not taking the time that we need to take to just kind of say, this is wonderful. This is beautiful. I have a son and a daughter who I adore. I have a wife who is more than I thought that I'd ever find in life. I have hope for my future in every way. We don't know what will happen tomorrow, but if you make today beautiful, and then you make tomorrow beautiful, and you make the day after that beautiful, that's life. That's all that there is. And you do that by just making this moment for the last hour and a half. I've tried to share the best of what I have about going into myself and being a productive, creative, dynamic human being. If there's anything that I've been able to share with you, it's only because you were willing to share with me. This is not possible without you being willing to trust. And you're not trusting me, you're trusting your instincts about me. You're not trusting Tananarive, you're trusting your instincts about her. You're calibrating your intuition. If you look at the chakras behind me, it goes from the core physicality to our sexuality, to our power, to our emotions, to our ability to learn and teach, to our ability to create a map of the universe. And outside that is something that happens when you integrate those other levels, that intuition, that sense of this is the path of life. Let me do the things I do today to take one more step. I'm traveling between being the little boy I was and being the old man I will be on my deathbed. And all I really have to do is walk that journey with integrity. If I do that, I win. And if I can teach that, and share that, we all win together. So, unmute yourselves. Everybody say goodbye.
Thank you all. See you next time.
That's right.
Thanks,
And please,
everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody
Steve.
who shared
Bye,
today.
fantastic.
everybody.
Be sure to go over to the
Media,
Life Writing
media.
Circle at lifewriting.com. Join up. Just help people over there. And
Yeah.
tell us how we can help you. That's all I ask for. And I'd like to end this today with the Sanskrit expression. It says that the divinity within me salutes and acknowledges the divinity within each and every one of you. Never forget it. Namaste. Take care,
Namaste.
people.
Namaste.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Uh,